to beat you when you're naughty. I mean, we're so cliched about it, but really it's the whole of the Buddhist worldview of the universe, the entire worldview would be incoherent without this view of karma. It's absolutely fundamental to the entire understanding of the mind, of happiness, of suffering, of reality, of everything. You can't ignore it. Of course you can if you want. You can, there's lots of tools you can use from Buddhism that are useful, and it doesn't, you can be a 1% Buddhist, in other words, doesn't matter. But the whole worldview is utterly integrated with this view of karma, which is basically that the world consists of billions and trillions of sentient beings. Mind possessor is the lovely word in Tibetan, sem chen, mind possessor. There are trillions of us, all these individual mind streams, mental continuums, these rivers of mental moments, think like that. And that the logic in the Buddhist view is that these minds are absolutely not the handiwork of somebody else. It's the weirdest idea in Buddhism. The more we understand the Buddhist view about what the mind is and where it comes from, the more bizarre it would be to think it comes from someone else. This is just not a possibility for the Buddha, that the mind is the source of itself. This moment of mind finds its source in the previous moment of mind. And the previous moment of mind comes from the very second before that. It's like this river of mental moments, and you keep tracking it back. And you don't, when you get back to the time of conception, if you're a materialist, you track yourself back through your parents. And then if you're a Christian, for example, you track yourself back to God. Neither of those views in Buddhism. You track yourself back to a previous moment of your own mind. Your mind isn't physical. It's got various levels of subtlety and grossness. So the mind was existing the moment before conception, the moment before that, the moment before that, and not more than a few weeks before that, it was in a previous body. And what determines this entire process, the common view we all have about religion is that there's a boss called God who punishes and rewards. It's a very fascinating philosophy, but that's absolutely got nothing to do with the Buddha's view. That for the Buddha is just not valid. It's not viable. So we are the source of ourselves. We are the cause of our own being. As His Holiness the Dalai Lama says, karma is like self-creation. And it's not a complicated concept that everything you think and do and say produces the person you become. I mean, that's like saying if you're a musician, everything you think and do and say in relation to music produces the musician you become. We're not surprised by that. Everything you think and do and say in relation to cooking produces the cook you become. You know this. But that's the meaning of karma. Except here, Buddha is saying the person we become in terms of moral and good or bad or crazy or happy or suffering, that is also the product of what we've said and done before. We are the cause of ourselves. We get it when it comes to being a cook or a musician, but we have a very weird different set of rules when it comes to being happy or suffering. We look outside for all the causes. No, look inside. That's Buddha's fundamental view. So understanding karma and then understanding the mind, this is the nuts and bolts of Buddha's entire view, and it's the nuts and bolts of a person's practice. So our topic here has been explicitly how to purify karma, but by understanding how we create it tells us how we purify it, because it's the same process. So basically, in the way the Lam Rim is presented, as we've discussed many times, this packaging of Buddha's teachings, the teachings are all gradual, they're all progressive. You start with the early stuff and the first stages of practice, as Lama Zopa would politely put it, honoring the lineage, that it's the teachings and practices suitable to the person of the least capability. Then you've got the teachings and practices suitable to the disciple of the middle capability, high school. Then you've got the greatest capability, and that's called, I'll call that university. And then you've got postgraduate, that's Tantra. Fits very well. So karma is taught right at the beginning. Of course, it doesn't just stay in junior school. It becomes the basis of all your practice from here to Buddhahood, because it's the law that runs the universe for the Buddha. It's a natural law. He didn't make it up. He's not a creator. It is not punishment. It is not reward. It's a simple presentation of the causes of happiness and suffering. That's what it is, So in the way we talked about how we create it, the main thing is the mind. The main thing is the mind for sure. Then the body and speech do the job of the mind, don't they? They're the ones that steal. The body is the one that lies. The speech is the one that lies based upon what's in the mind. The body steals based upon what's in the mind. The fist punches based upon what's in the mind. It's kind of evident. The hand gives generosity based upon what's in the mind. It's sort of obvious, but we don't think like this. So by controlling our body and speech first, that's the most urgent level of practice, as we've discussed. Stop causing future suffering. Whose future suffering? Mine. Then the next level of practice is to live in vows, and that's so stupendous. We've talked about that. Living in vows of ethics, determines that every millisecond we think and do every millisecond we're ticking over virtuous karmic seeds and purifying our minds. Then the next level of practice is we have to purify, the seeds we've already planted in countless past lives and get them before they ripen as further suffering. That's what purification is. So it's like getting ahead of the game. It's like doing your weeding every day. You have to. And as Lama Zopa says, we're insane not to do this practice every day. Clean up your act at the end of every day. And then as Lama Yeshe says, you go to bed with a happy mind. Because we're the boss. We're in charge of who we become. It's a very, very fundamentally different view from the creator views. And I'm not criticizing them. It's just different. Quite different, That's how we've been talking this few weeks. So I don't know if we actually did the practice. Did we do that? Did I ever lead the practice, Talia? Do you remember? I didn't. Speak to me.
I have not done the practices.
Okay, well, I think we should do that today. So we'll end the session with a leisurely guided meditation, doing this practice as we've discussed. We'll end with that. So before I go further, I'm wondering if you've got from the last few weeks or since just now any questions. I think we've covered everything really, but I think it's good to now unpack it a little bit more. But you ask me, see if you can ask me some questions if you have any questions. If you haven't, that's just fine. Yes, good.
Venerable.
Go, sweetheart.
I have a question. I still don't understand the relationship between karma and matter, especially external matter.
No, it's a really good question, Cyril. It's an excellent question. It's a great question because it's evident. Initially, it's not evident. How can there possibly be any relationship? Well, the only way to, I think, explain it is from the Vajrayana system's point of view. So let me try and explain, shall I?
Sure. Like, for example, getting hit by a car. Is that my karma if I'm hit by a car?
Okay. If you receive $1 million in the lottery, is that your karma? If a car hits you, is that my karma? There's nothing that isn't karma, Cyril. There can't be. Is there anything in the garden that doesn't come from a seed in that garden? Do you understand the logic?
Yes.
It can't not be. So let's look at the relationship, and I'll try and explain, for example, why we have, for example, all actions we do can have any of the 4 results, like we've talked. One is the fully ripened result, which is a type of rebirth. So in our case, one of our very strong, virtuous, non-killing karmic seeds must have been triggered at the time of our past death that programmed our consciousness, which from this Vajrayana point of view is inextricably linked with the subtle wind energy. This is the physical matter. That was programmed and that found its way to your present mother's human womb. And so you got the human body. It's the fruit of your past virtue. The body comes from your mother, but you created the cause to go there. Do you get my point? Now,
yes.
The second way that your non-killing karma, the same karma, would ripen in the next way is as a tendency. And Sil will wake up in this life with no thought to kill. Or maybe he might be taught it and not want to do it. And then he hears about the Buddhist view and it makes sense to him and he stops killing. That's the second result of non-killing. You don't want to kill. And you look at the world, Cyril, and you'll see that that's not the way it is. The vast majority of all humans think it's totally fine to kill the rats and the roaches and the ants and the dogs and people in a war. Killing is a very common thing among humans, which is tragic, which means it's the result of our past killing that we wake up in this life with a thought to kill. The third way karma ripens, non-killing, using one example, would be now as an experience similar to the cause. So the result of the experience similar to the cause of past non-killing for Cyril is that so far he hasn't been killed and he hasn't died young. So that's your petrol tank of non-killing karma as an experience is still not empty. But maybe you've got the karma as a result of killing Cyril, and if Robina's driving the car, and you must have killed me 47 lives ago, and in this particular case I'm driving a car, so I run into you. So that's your karma from past killing of me. Karma's pretty personal, but I happen to be driving a car. I mean, I could have shot you as far as I'm concerned, my karma, it might not be intentional. I might not have intended to run you over, but another example, I might have shot you and it might have been my karma and I might have intended to kill you. But from your point of view, it's the fruit of your past killing that you get killed or you die young. That's called experiences similar to the cause. Now, the fourth result of, in your case, we're discussing non-killing, is called environmental. This is the one that seems quite abstract. I mean, it's the very way the physical world impacts upon you. So the karmic result of the environmental karma of non-killing is that you're really fat and healthy. You don't get sick much. You've got well-being. You've got good health. The food nourishes you. The water is delicious. The air is pure. And even if you eat rubbish food, you won't get sick. That's the result of non-killing. So that's the physical. So how that happens, or even let's say the result of killing might be that you live in an environment where there's an earthquake. That's the result of all the people in that place. Is the collective karma of past killing that you suffer an environmental result. Now look at COVID-19. The entire world is experiencing the environmental result of past killing insofar as the very physical world, which in this case, in particular, other human beings, think about that. They're part of the environment for us, aren't they? They're harming you. If you kiss your girlfriend, you could die, for God's sake. So that's the environmental result of killing. All the people who get COVID-19 and who die, that's the experience similar to the cause of killing. So the environmental one seems a bit abstract. In other words, how come the physical world itself is caused by my past actions? Well, the Lama Zopa describes it very nicely. It's from the Vajrayana. He says, in the Kala Chakra tantric teachings, there are these detailed descriptions of the intimate relationship between internal and external energy. I've said this before. Internal is the mind. External is your own physical elements. So in the Vajrayana model, we've got gross body, which is the bag of bones you've got now, and the gross consciousness, your sensory consciousnesses. That's the grossest level of our physical being and mental being. And they're inextricably linked. You've got to have an eyeball in order to have eye consciousness. You've got to have an ear drum and all the bits and pieces working nicely to have a cognition of sound, which is the job of your mind. You with me so far? Mm-hmm. Now you've got subtle consciousness, which is all your thoughts. Your mental states are more subtle, and they also are inextricably linked to a physical energy. And that's the subtler level of these physical energy, and it's the four elements. This is the universe. This is the view of the universe as far as the Vajrayana is concerned. The physical world is made of the four elements. So now your body is the physical world, basically. So that's external energy. But the subtle physical elements, the body, our subtle body, they call it, this is in Vajrayana, is made up of this subtle nervous system. There's 72,000 subtle channels going through your entire body. In those channels are running all these different wind energies or prana or air. It's a subtle wind energy, the same character as external air, but more subtle. This is, and then all your different states of mind are all connected to these different wind energies. So As long as, so for example, the Tibetan doctors, this is the basis of their health. So the Tibetan doctor will feel your pulses. She will feel the imbalance of certain wind energies in you, and she will know that they're connected to your attachment, and that's why you're having anxiety and panic attacks. So she gives you your herbal medicine, which calms down the physical, which in turn helps your mind, because the mind and the winds are inextricably linked. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
So, as Lama Zopa says in the Kala Chakra Tantra, for example, even just your mind, everything your mind does, let's say you're angry, thoughts, well, your anger, that produces more anger. You program your mind with anger. But what it does is it pollutes the wind energies that are connected to your anger in coursing through all these channels in your body. And then eventually that creates more causes for you to be angry, but it pollutes the wind energies, which over a long period creates more causes in the future for you to have a sick body. That's caused by our own mind from life to life. And even more long term, that impacts upon the external elements. And then you'll get born in an environment where there's like pollution or earthquakes or whatever. So the whole universe, the physical world, is the result of the karmic actions, mental, physical, and verbal, of all the sentient beings.
So can I give one example? So if, for example, I die in an avalanche,
yeah,
how does my karma influences the avalanche?
But I explained it, but it's not that easy to understand. From many, many, many lifetimes ago, you know, you and all the people, all the creatures who experience that imbalance of the physical elements, that imbalance of the physical elements at that moment was the karmic result of the mental actions and the verbal actions done by all those sentient beings probably 1 million lifetimes ago, because internal impacts upon the external. I mean, of course, it's subtle. Of course, it doesn't appear evident, but this is the explanation. It's not just random. It can't be random. There's no creator involved. There's not punishment. So it's obviously quite subtle, but this is the word, and it's all dealt with in great depth in the literature. All the literature, you know, is explained. As a theory, can you hear it or not?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good, Cyril. Thank you so much. Who else?
And then the next one is from Andrea. Please unmute yourself, Andrea.
Yes, Andrea, talk
Thank
to me.
you for the wonderful explanation now.
Good.
But another question, that the Vajrasattva practice, can I do it for somebody else, like for my son, father, I don't know, husband, sister?
Yeah.
Or...
Darling, of course you could. Any practice that involves the Buddhas, I mean, you know, if we have confidence in the presence of enlightened beings pervading the universe, a Buddha is a very powerful person. They've practiced from life after life after life, wanting to benefit others. They've now perfected their minds. Their mind exists throughout the universe, and their job is to help others. So, of course, you can do any practice to help others, but the Vajrasattva practice is modeled for oneself. But you can invoke any Buddha to help anybody. But this particular practice is you regretting your own causes of your own suffering, because you are sick of suffering. Then you have compassion, then you do it, and then you determine to change. It's a very personal practice. But there's many other practices you could do to help others, no question about it. You'd invoke the Buddhas, like the medicine Buddha, you know, and the Buddhas do their job, you know. But you wouldn't do this one for others. No, it's very specifically personal.
Okay, thank you. It's a very good explanation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, all these hands up. There's Nina.
Next one is Nina. Nina L.
Go talk to me, Susan.
Hello. Hi, Venerable Robina. Thank you for your teaching.
Good.
I wonder, where can I read the original Buddha own word, the source for the of karma?
Okay. It's all, I haven't studied enough of all the teachings, but what's existing in the literature since the time of the Buddha, just like it is, let's say, if you want to look back to Bach's music, over the centuries, you're going to have Bach's music, then all the thousands of musicians and masters who've played Bach and commented on Bach and given their explanation of Bach, they're all part of the commentarial literature. It's exactly the same with the Buddha. All the teachings are back there in the sutras, but also there are the more esoteric teachings that Buddha gave in a more subtle level in the tantras, and as well as the Mahayana teachings. The sources are all there. that the sources are all there, as well as all the centuries of commentaries by all the masters since then. That's all I can tell you. So it's for you to research. I mean, if you can discover that there's something that's been taught since the time of the Buddha that isn't what Buddha said or isn't Buddha's teaching, then it's wrong. You must reject it. But you have to do that research. It's all there for you. Are you seeing my point, Nina? Good, darling. Thank you so much. Thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, next one is
Sugandhika.
Sugandhika, talk to me, darling.
Yeah. Namaste, Venerable Robina ji.
Namaste.
My question to you is, if I want to forgive someone, what is the way to do it?
That's a really, really, really good question. Let's look at the concept of forgiveness. I'll discuss it in different ways. I find it quite fascinating. Well, first of all, I don't know what your background is. Maybe have you got Indian religion background or not?
Yes, I'm a Hindu.
Okay. So, okay, good. Okay. So then we know, I mean, from my point of view, being a Christian, this is really interesting to discuss forgiveness. I'll discuss it, okay, as a philosophical view. So if I'm a Christian, and indeed a Muslim, I don't know about the Hindus, do you have a process of asking forgiveness or not in Hindu religion or not?
You are supposed to clean off your karma by doing good stuff.
Okay, the same thing, same in the Buddhist one. So the forgiveness one, you listen to this, it's very interesting. In the creator religions, forgiveness is absolutely fundamental because listen to this. Because God is the boss, God creates the universe, God creates me, God creates the laws. So then this is the point that I remember in this discussion about purification. I always quote this. I had a discussion with one of my Jesuit priest friends. These priest scholars. And I said to him, what is it that defines something as a sin? What makes it a sin? And this is a really powerful point. He said, by definition, a sin is doing what God said not to do. He said, so for example, killing, the main reason it is wrong is because Buddha said not to do it. He said natural law does play a role that, nobody likes to get killed. But the main piece of it is it's because God is the boss. God says don't kill. So you do a wrong action because God said. So this is very powerful. So the only way to purify that is to beg God to forgive you. Now that makes complete sense. It's exactly the same in my mother's household. My mummy says, make my bed every morning, and I'm a naughty girl and don't make it. That's mummy's law. Mummy runs the show. Mummy is the boss. So I must apologize to mummy because that's why it's wrong. Think about this, because there's nothing inherently negative about not making your bed. It's because mummy's the boss. So forgiveness is a huge one. And certainly because of most of us, many of us who've got a Christian background as opposed to Sakandika, then we think of karma as that. But in a way, the process of karma has got nothing to do with forgiveness, but you can add forgiveness. But let's look at another way in our lives where we misuse forgiveness. So let's say Sakandika is my best friend, and I'm always late for work, and I'm always late for our meetings or something, So, and I'm feeling bad about it. So I ring her up. I'm so sorry, I was late again. And then I'm wanting her to forgive me. Now you listen to this. I'm sort of like misusing Sakandika because she's always putting up with me and I always keep apologizing and I'm listening and hoping she'll forgive me because then I'm feeling, oh, good, I've got off the hook again. But if she's really my friend, she will say, Robina, of course I'm going to forgive you, but honey, you've got to make a decision to change. You just can't keep asking me to make you feel better. In other words, we often use forgiveness. We misuse it for the other person to make us feel better, to get me off the hook. That is not appropriate. I mean, if she's really my friend, she will say, I will forgive you, but Robina, you need to make a decision to stop being late. And she's got to make a decision whether she keeps putting up with me, So we can misuse forgiveness as a way for the other person to make us feel better, to get us stop feeling guilty. And that's really not appropriate. Now, on the other hand, if I've done something wrong to somebody, I need to forgive. I need to ask her to forgive me. I need to, if I've done something wrong. But the point is this, let's say it's more serious than being late. Let's say I've lied to her or cheated on her boyfriend. Now, the point is this, in the purification practice, this Buddhist approach, the first one is I have to regret for my sake The first step is for my sake. We miss this completely in our culture. If I've cheated on Sagandika and got taken her boyfriend, I've harmed her. So, but the first step in the purification, regret, has got nothing to do with compassion yet. It's I have got to own the fact that I did something unethical and that I don't want that karmic result for me. So this first step of regret is really like compassion for yourself. It's like forgiving yourself. Because we walk around with so much guilt. I'm a bad person. I'm so bad. I cheated on her, my best friend, and you never get past it. So regret is actually compassion for yourself. And that's like forgiving yourself because you are sick of suffering. I'm sick of this suffering for myself. I don't want to have the tendency to keep cheating on people, and taking people's boyfriends. And I don't want the karmic result in the future of people cheating on me. So the first step has to be for my own sake. Now, the next step is naturally logical from this. It's like, well, whom can I turn to give me the methods? And this is the difference between the Christian one. If I'm a Christian, I would regret it. But then I turn to God and I beg him to forgive me. That's crucial. But here, you don't ask Buddha to forgive you. It's not his job. He would forgive you. He's nice. But it's not the issue. For the Buddha, asking him to forgive you is a bit like asking your doctor to forgive you for smoking cigarettes, hoping that she will say, yes, I forgive you, Robina, and now you won't get cancer. We know it doesn't work like that. It's a natural law. So we use Buddha. We rely upon the Buddha as our doctor. That's the second step. And we visualize Buddha. That's powerful. But in a sense, it's you doing the work. You're using the doctor's medicine. You purify yourself. But the second part also includes now we have compassion for the other person. I now have compassion for Sagandika and know that how much pain she must have experienced. And I regret for her sake now in the second step. The third one, I visualize the Buddha and I do the mantra and I do the purification. I'm visualizing the Buddha, but I'm doing the work. Fourth, I vow not to do it again. So add on to that, I need to go and ask her to forgive me. And this is the point now, let's say she doesn't forgive me, and that can very be possible. But then usually if I think that forgiveness is what purifies me, and then she doesn't forgive me, then what am I left with? I've got to sit there being guilty for the rest of my life. If my purification depends upon Sagandika forgiving me, I'm lost. But the point in the Buddhist one is I purify myself. It's a bonus if she forgives me. But if she doesn't, that's her problem, but I can still purify my part of it. Can you see the point I'm saying here? So
yes, I do. But an addition to the question. Is what do you do if you have been wronged by somebody else? Let's say
you're the one who has to forgive.
No, somebody else has wronged you. Let's say, for example,
you need to forgive them. You mean
yes, not because they're asking you for forgiveness.
No, I hear you. That's what's powerful. In the second step of this practice, where we have compassion for those that we have harmed, if we're brave enough, Sagandika, we will also have compassion for those who have harmed us. So we don't talk so much about forgiveness, but it would come naturally. But why? The crucial point is you've got to ask, why would I have compassion? Why would you have compassion for me who has harmed you? Because you know, due to karma, I have harmed myself and I will suffer in the future. Once you understand that for yourself in the first step, you will then be able to forgive me because you have compassion for me, because you know I've just created suffering for myself. That's the reason behind it. But we don't really get that until we understand that we harm ourselves first. That's the basis of why you would forgive me. Do you understand, darling?
Yes, but does that nullify your karma with them?
No, you just benefit yourself. I've got to do the work. That doesn't help me at all. Karma is a super personal practice. It's our own internal process for our benefit. Do you understand, darling? Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And the thing is, it's really important, though, Sagandika, because compassion and forgiving are very powerful. But if you're still going through the pain of the hurt that others have done to you, don't leap ahead of yourself. You've got to work it out yourself first, understand your own karma. It's happened because of your past karma. You'll learn to forgive yourself for that, and you'll heal your own heart. Then it's easy to forgive. Don't leap ahead. Forgiveness and compassion are more advanced in a way. Do you understand, darling?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much.
Good. They say the greatest bodhisattvas and the Buddhas have even more compassion for those who do the harm than for the victims, because the victim, we've just finished the karma, and the harmer is just starting terrible future karma. Do you understand? Did you get that point? It's very powerful. Yeah. Good. Thank you so much. What else, people?
Venerable, I would ask one question from the chat.
Good.
Do the karma of our ancestors and parents impact us similar to collective karma? It's quite clear.
Yeah, no, I mean, no. Collective karma means we do things together, so we will experience the results together. So if we as a family in this life all kill the next door neighbor, then we as a group 72 lives later or next life, but not as a family, we won't be the same family, but we will get the result together. So family karma does not impact. Any other person's karma is an impossibility to impact upon our karma. I mean, it can affect us, but it's not a direct result. Absolutely clear for the Buddhist view. What else?
Then the next one is from Ace. Could you unmute yourself? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's a privilege for me to be here for the first time.
Good, fantastic.
And I was looking forward to talk to you, Robina. Thank you very much.
Happy to talk to you.
Actually, I'm a Muslim. I have Islam religious background. Okay,
Wonderful.
and recently I discovered Buddhism view.
Yes.
That's why I discovered you recently.
Okay.
So
good.
I just have a question because I have a really big problem. So recently, when I was a child, my father was really aggressive.
Yes.
I was beaten without any reason.
Yes.
That's the first problem. The
Yes.
second problem is I live in a Muslim country
Yes.
where homosexuality is a big taboo.
Yes.
So I discovered that I was homosexual since I was 6 years or 7 years old.
Yes.
And I was suppressing these feelings, you know. I never acted out. I have 30 now. I never acted out.
Yes.
But I was unable to express my feelings or come out of the closet, if you can understand me.
Yes.
So when I was getting older, until maybe 28,
yes,
I was so depressed until I wanted to commit suicide recently. Sorry to say that.
I understand that.
But I was really struggling with my sexuality and my religion because God don't tolerate homosexuality.
Yes, yes.
Same as in the Bible.
Yes.
So I was trying, I tried everything to heal myself, prayers, fasting. I even tried conversion therapy.
Yes.
I worked with American therapist for 2 years and nothing happened.
Yes.
So when I realized that change didn't happen for me, I decided to kill myself. But I didn't do that because of my family.
I understand that.
The problem is when I was seeing my friend getting married, the jealousy and envy, the anger were getting bigger, because my dream when I was a child is getting married and having children, but I'm unable to realize that dream because of my sexuality.
I understand. So how do you feel now? Where's your position at the moment, Ace? Are you still living in a Muslim country?
Yeah, recently.
What decisions have you made? What do you feel you'd like to do?
I feel lost, to be honest.
What do you want to do? What would you like to do, Ace?
I still have confusion, you know. I feel lost and I don't have any goals in life.
So what would you like to do in terms of if you would like to have a relationship, you'd like to maybe be married, you'd like to have children and a life together with somebody. Is that right?
Yeah, it was my dream.
So what would you like to do to make that happen? What would you think you need to do to make that happen, Ace?
I'm afraid if I'm
to make it happen.
I'm afraid if I'm engaged in marriage, and I cannot have a happy life because I'm not attracted to women.
But I'm not saying that. I'm not suggesting that. I'm saying what's stopping you from going away from your country? What's stopping you from going to a country where you're more accepted? What's stopping you from following your heart, living a good life, living ethics, finding somebody, settling down and having children? I'm talking about a man. What's stopping you from doing that, Ace? Because that's what you want. What's stopping you from doing that, from making that decision?
It's like I want a woman, right? I want to be married and having children.
I thought you said you're homosexual.
Yeah, but the problem
Why would you
is
want to marry a woman if you're homosexual? Don't you want to marry a man and have children? I'm asking
I cannot marry a man because
the world accepts it now. Why not?
Because I don't feel comfortable.
Pardon? What? You don't what?
I don't feel comfortable to be with a man or marry a man.
You are homosexual.
Yeah.
So then what do you mean you don't feel comfortable? You want a man. So what's stopping you from following your heart, Ace? And still, are you a practicing Muslim? Do you have faith in God? Do you want to obey by Muslim laws? Or it's up to what you want, Ace. We have to, we're all conflicted. Clearly you are conflicted. On the one side, it seems you don't want to, so tell me this is why I'm asking you repeatedly. You've got to know what you want. We've got to know that we want to kill our father and kill every child in the world. We have to know what we want first. Then we look at it and see if it's reasonable. And if it's not reasonable, we don't do it. So we've got to be brave and look, you're trying to be brave. So what do you really want, Ace?
That's a hard question.
That's right, darling. And until
really
you say it to yourself, because the point is, it's never easy, Ace. This is everybody's life. So on the one hand, I'm hearing, as you just said, you don't feel comfortable with a man, but you're hoping that you'll be able to stop feeling like a homosexual and get a wife and have children. But you've tried that already, as you said. So you've got to make a decision. You've got to decide, I am homosexual, I do want to have a husband, and I do want to have children. If that's what you want, I'm just asking you. I'm not saying you should want it. Then you need to go to a situation where it's possible to do that. Or you decide, I will obey by God's laws and I will not have sex with a man and I will just live with the pain of feeling, and try and learn to accept that. And our mind can decide anything, Ace, but to live in conflict, which is very painful, which is what we all do. This is why we suffer so terribly. So in a sense, you've got two options. It sounds very brutal. One option is to remain where you are, abide by the laws of a Muslim country, learn to know that you're attracted to men, but you've decided I won't follow it. So you find methods to learn to be happy. You find methods to learn to, to be a happy person living with this pain in your heart. It's okay. We all sometimes can't get what we want. And like I've got friends in prison who even should not be there. I've worked with many people in prison. They all want to get out of prison, but there's no benefit in thinking that because they know they will never get out of prison. So the conflict is being resentful, being angry, being jealous. I shouldn't be in prison. It's not fair. And many of my friends who are in prison, they know they can't change it, so they change their mind. Now that's your first option, Ace, and you will be able to find happiness because the mind is a very powerful thing. That's your first option. The other option is you're not in prison. You can leave the Muslim country. You can go to a country where you are accepted and you can find a good way to live and see if you can find a partner and learn to be happy that way. You've got two options, sweetheart. You've got two options, Ace. It sounds brutal to say it this way, but that's the bottom line. So you need to be clear. Instead of this constant living, if only, and it's not fair and I can't do it and be jealous, you'll go mad, sweetheart. It's not easy to do it, but these are your options, Ace.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's the problem is it's really hard to accept the situation because I never realized that I'm going through this kind of difficulties.
I understand, darling. So which situation is it hard for you to accept? Which one? What are you saying? Which situation? Being a Muslim and being homosexual, you mean? Yeah, okay, so you got to. That's why I'm saying you decide. It's because it's not easy, sweetheart. It's not easy, Ace. You've got to go through several steps in your mind to come to these conclusions. But when we realize, Ace, like my friends in prison, that's a very immutable situation. It's a very good example. People who are in prison for the rest of their life, let's say, especially if they're innocent, they don't have a choice. They don't have a choice. They either go crazy, thinking it's not fair, living in this nightmare, or changing their mind and finding the good the best in the situation they've got in order to be a happy human being. They're your two options. Accept your reality, accept the restrictions of the way you're living, accept your homosexuality, but learn to work with it, change your mind, and be a happy man. Or leave and find a partner. They're your options, honey. Do you not agree with me?
Yeah, of course, I agree with you.
Have you got good therapists, good people who understand you and who help you, or not?
After doing 2 years of therapy, I decided to be my own therapist.
Okay, good, Ace. Good, you do that. You do that. And if you want to communicate with me more, you're very welcome to email me. We can talk more. I'm very happy.
Yeah. I really appreciate it because I have a lot of...
I understand, darling. I do understand, Ace, and I'm so happy you talked about it. And this is, so you get my email address. It's my full name, Robina Courtin @mac.com. MAC, like the computer. You email me, Ace. I mightn't answer you immediately, but I've got a few emails there, but I will answer you, okay?
Can you write it, please?
Pardon?
Can you write it, please, your email?
Ace, I'll write it to you. It's Talia.
See my name on the screen. Ace, can you see my name on the screen?
Yeah. I just received your email. Yeah.
So it's Robina Courtin @mac.com. You email me. Mac like the computer, okay? So I will answer you personally. But just hear what I'm saying. You've got two options, Ace. And the mind is capable of anything. Don't feel restricted by the way we think we can change things,
I just feel there is a battle inside of me, in the mind.
A what?
There is a battle,
Yes, of course there's a battle. I can hear it.
There is a fight.
Yes, there is a huge fight. I understand that.
Yeah.
But you can get it clear. Don't you worry. Have confidence. Okay.
I'm doing meditation recently.
Good
I'm
stuff.
trying to calm the mind as soon.
Good, darling. Good.
Thank you very much, Robina.
One step at a time, honey. You'll be fine. Be brave.
Yeah.
Be brave.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, darling. Anybody else? Any questions?
Yes, Katerina has a question.
Good, Katerina. Tell me.
Hello, Venerable Robina. Thank you for your teaching.
Good.
I've got a question concerning the actual purification practice.
Yes, good.
And in the third stage, the remedy stage,
yes,
apply the remedy, you have these relating to body, speech, and mind, and you visualize Vajrasattva and the nectar flowing into your body.
Yeah.
And the first one, the body stage, is where the nectar flows out of the body to the bottom.
Yep.
Second one is coming up, it's floating up.
Yep.
And the third one is the light, that the light. And I was just wondering what the background of these three different visualizations.
What is the background, Katerina?
Like what
background?
Why are they different? Why is it one once you visualize
the second one, the speech is here, isn't it? It's just a way of, you can be creative, It's sort of like, it's just a creative way of thinking. It's a creative way of thinking. And the body, okay, you imagine going down, then the speech is here, isn't it? So good to think of all the speech going up. And the light, the mind is more subtle, so why not light? I mean, a lot of these things are, the essence of them is all there in the basic teachings, but these are like creative methods on top of the basic teachings. It's just being creative.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's much simpler than I thought. I overthink things.
I know sometimes we do, but that's okay. It's okay. Okay. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, Katerina. It's going to be too late to do the practice, but it doesn't matter. The practice is in your books, and I think online you're going to find a lot of examples of it. And it's there. And I can also, I mean, we do it every night in the Tibetan Buddhist in Santa Fe at 9:15 our time here in Santa Fe, which is too late for you guys, but it's all online. There's a 30-minute one, and I've led it many times. So if maybe Talia can help you find one of those, it's just a 30-minute guided meditation from Tibetan Buddhist, and you can make it available to people. Talia, can you do that?
Okay, I will do that.
Do that, because 30 minutes it's very short, but it's very nice. It's very tasty to do it in 30 minutes. So what else, sweethearts? Our last 10 minutes together.
Okay, there's one more question in the chat, and that'll be it. It's a long question, so forgive me if I
Okay, go on, you read it.
Okay, I'm going to read it out. I have learned in my academic studies that the nature of karma is determined by will or intention behind an act. Peter Harvey, in his book, indicates that not everything that happens to a person is a result of karma. For example, unpleasant feelings and illnesses can arise from a variety of causes. In other words, karma is one cause among many. Just because A is a cause of B, it does not mean that B is always caused by A. Can please Venerable Robina clarify this point?
I don't know. I can't say anything about the person you're quoting. All I know is, based on what I've understood, that the law of karma is the most fundamental law that runs the universe, and karma, and that everything that happens to any sentient being finally has to come from imprints in the mind of that person, which then affects the physical. That's the fundamental law. Of course, there are many causes at this moment. The wrong food, for example, can cause me to be sick. That's an external cause. But the very nature of environmental karma, the fourth way that karma ripens, is that due to past killing, now, thousands of lives later, I'm born in an environment where I have a weak body and the food will harm me. So I can only say, from the biggest picture possible, everything that ever happens to any sentient being without exception, all the good and all the bad, has a cause. And there has to be a mental cause. Otherwise, that's what I understand. That's all I can say. I'm sorry, I can't say more. What's next?
That's it. That's all the question in the chat, and
all right. Okay.
No more hands.
Well, good, you people. Well, I think we've covered everything. We really have. It's really good. I'm happy. So whatever, straight away these questions, and one person asked me, what are the source from the Buddha about karma? Perfect question. This other question, you're going to find many different interpretations. I'm not arguing with anybody. All I can do is tell you what I've learned from my sources. And my sources are Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa, and from their sources. And their sources are the Dalai Lama and all the other lamas. I can only kind of go by I'm studying Bach, 5 centuries after Bach. Whom can I rely upon? Bach is dead. I can't talk to him, but I can talk to my teacher. And that teacher got her music from her teacher. And that music got her teacher from her teacher. And they track themselves right back to Bach. So my teacher might be wrong, but that's up to me to check my teachers. All I can do is with confidence and spaciousness in my mind to say what I have heard to be true, and also based upon thinking and logic, because in the end the Buddha's teachings have to be logical. If it's not logical, it can't be right. It's not meant to be a joke, like any body of knowledge, it's got to be coherent. So anyway, that's my comment. So keep studying, keep checking, keep looking. And that's it, really. And so the other powerful point to make again and again and again that I want to say is that karma isn't punishment. There's no punisher in Buddhism. There's no rewarder. There's no person out there running the world. There's no one holding a big stick. And everything, and the other one I want to say is that everything good that happens to us, we never think of this, is the fruit of our past actions. We'd be blissed out daily if we realized how much virtue, how much morality, how much good ethics, how much non-killing and non-stealing, how much spiritual practice we must have practiced in the past in order to be this ordinary person now sitting right here in this class, wanting to be a better human being. On this planet, that's a pretty special thing. And this is the fruit of our own past hard work. It should make us very, very happy, I tell you, to know how much virtue we must have created. So be so glad. We are the boss. We are the creator. We create ourselves, So that's a sign that I have to go, an urgent phone call. So just wait. I'll come back in 1 minute, okay?
Guys, I will share the long life prayers for Venerable Robina, and I think Nina will also say a few words at the end, because this is our very last class with Venerable Robina that we have scheduled, and we're working hard to have more scheduled. but it really depends on Venerable schedules. And yeah, so we're trying, but so far this is our very last class after 6 months of studying and being guided by Venerable Robina. So thank you for being there. And I think Nina will say a few things.
Okay, let's just dedicate. Oh, you say something first, Nina. Okay, good. You go.
Yeah. I try, despite of the difficulty, it always is like that, that what you needed most, you have some obstacles. So we're having a little bit of technical obstacles today, but I have this difficult task to say thank you, Venerable Robina, and it's an impossibility to find words to thank you for the tools that you gave us to work on our minds in the last few months. And also for the courage that you planted in our minds, because I think that knowing what to do and doing it, those are two different things. And our job is now to do what you taught us to and we will try. So thank you very much. We didn't offer mandala at the beginning. So Talia, if you would be able to put it up on the screen, I think it would be really nice if you were able to offer.
We did.
In our, rather than saying thank you, Venerable, and we would like to also recite the long life prayer if you are
okay, you can do that. Sure thing.
Okay with that. And then to all of you, because we've received lots of requests and lots of it's difficult because it's last time, and for all of us, we kind of are confused and don't know what we are going to do. So we are trying to schedule more, and we hope that we will be able to create the karma to have more teachings of Venerable Robina's in the future. And I will try to share the mandala if I manage. Talia, if you can give me the screen for a moment. I hope that it works from my phone.
Nina, we did have mandala offering in the beginning.
Oh, okay. Could we offer another one, Talia?
Do you, sure, but do you want to, but I thought we want to chant for the prayer for long life of Venerable Robina. It's on the screen.
Could we do the mandala first and then switch to the long life prayer, please? Talia, would you be able to share the mandala one more time, please? I'm really sorry. Well, it looks like we won't have it on the screen, but still we will just recite together in English to express our gratitude for all the teachings and all the encouragement that we've received. And we will do it by visualizing the entire universe and offering it to Venerable Robina and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kam Niryatayami. Thank you so much. And then we will recite the long life prayers. So anybody who would like to unmute yourself so that Venerable Robina can hear us all, feel free. If you prefer not to, that's also perfect, fine. A prayer for the long life of Venerable Robina. Dedicated, compassionate, dynamic,
win no dance because the things that reign of negligence, all your mountains of delusion, the Tinderus, all the enemies prevailing the grace of God are an ordinary guide, kind you are. May all your wishes may your life
kind you are,
your wishes
fulfilled, and may your life be fulfilled to our end. Mighty One, you who display all the me of illusion, reveal the Dharma of negative beings, therefore, by eliminating the and you are. All your wishes and may your life be full until some end. May the blessings of the Guru, the deity, and the Dharma protectors, and soul of the truth of the ultimate reality in all my lifetime, may only space and never displease, even for 1 second, the Guru, and may all the vital points of my prayers be fulfilled.
Okay, Nina.
We also have not only a request that you stay long with us and live long, but also that you please come back and teach at Laksam as soon as possible, please.
I will.
We are all waiting very much.
I understand. I will.
Thank you, Robina.
Just to finish, we dedicate thinking all these thoughts we've had, all these days we've been together. Every thought counts. Every thought sows a seed. So you think we're going to nourish these seeds from this second forward with all our efforts and our practice, so that these seeds do ripen, no matter how long it takes, in the development of our amazing full potential. So then we're really qualified to help others. Gewadi Nudodag Matanye Drugyune Drowachi Kyang Malupa Devi Kalara Gopashog, and may bodhicitta grow and grow in the hearts of all. Jang Chob Sem Chob Bodhe Make Panam Ke Panyam Pame Payam Gong Gong Gopashog. Okay, sweethearts. So happy to see you all. Thank you.
We love you, Venerable. Love you.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you, Venerable Robina. You are in my heart.